Now we move on to our normal monthly meeting. It's time to there. All right, councillors? Right. Now we begin our normal Monday meeting. You see, apologies for absence. Declaration of interest. Are only declarations of interest? Thank you. Can I have a proposal to close the meeting for public session? Councillor Tilson, Councillor Harvey. Right, good evening.
Hello.
Anybody wish to speak?
Sally.
I just
Have your name?
Sally Cook, 4A High Street, Dymchurch.
I think you down as 30 Tudor Avenue.
Yeah? Now it's 4A High Street, Dymchurch. All right, to go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a copy of the minutes here from the last meeting that we were present at, which was the 8 PM at the Village Hall. And I have some queries that I'd like to raise about the minutes. I do appreciate that the minutes can't be an exact word-for-word account of what happened on the evening, but I don't feel that these truly represent some of the key things that happened in that meeting, Chairman. So there's a few things that I'd like to raise for your consideration. I'd like to start with the list of questions that has actually been put into these minutes from the public. The list doesn't include all of the questions that the public asked. The list only includes the questions, does not include any of the responses that the council gave to the public at that time. Whether that meets with what would be typical or expected of your minutes, I'm not sure, but I don't think that this actually really gives a good view to anyone reading that who wasn't at the meeting of actually what happened or what information was given to the public by the councillors, by the chairman. The second point I'd like to raise is that there was some information that was discussed at the meeting concerning verbal advice that was given to the clerk from KCC. This question was explored by Martin Wybrow. This is also missing from the minutes. Third item I'd like to raise is that at the beginning of the minutes here, it states the list of people who were present at the meeting. That includes the parish clerk and 68 members of the public. I don't believe that count's accurate, although I do fully accept lots were not in view because they were in the corridors and outside the window. However, at the end of this document, it states that the clerk counted 42 raised hands in favour. It doesn't state that there were no hands raised against, which would be in favour of developing on the rep. It does mention two others. Two further hands were raised, but these could not be included. That brings that to 44, which gives us a deficit of 24 missing bodies. I did not notice 24 people sitting in their seats without their hands raised, and I did not notice 24 people leaving before the vote. I think the figures are not very accurate. I don't expect them to be perfectly accurate given that the view was restricted, but I don't feel that represents exactly what happened in the room on that night. I'd also like to raise really one of my great concerns in these minutes is that two very key members of our community for a very long time put an awful lot of time and effort into preparing material to bring to you, Chairman. One of those people is Terry Preston and one of those people is Vanessa McCready. Both of those parishioners have made immense contribution to our community, put time and effort into bringing to you and to the community very valid points. Neither of these people have been mentioned in the meetings, nor has the content that they discussed, and I am incredibly disappointed by that. My final comment I would like to make, I know there will be many questions raised this evening about development of the recreation ground, including ones that will pertain to actions that the council have taken following a vote that we held at the APM, which clearly demonstrated the parish's feeling towards this development. So with that in mind, I'd like to read you a quote from the minutes, which relates to Councillor Tilson. Councillor Tilson emphasised that the parish council listens to what residents have to say and advocates transparency and open government. I believe that these minutes do not advocate transparency and open government. I think they're misleading and inaccurate. And I'd like to ask you, Chairman, to make sure that these get rectified and you don't leave these until a year's time, when councillors who may not have been at the meeting will be expected to remember the content accurately and agree to them.
Okay, madam, you're quite entitled to your views, madam, and I will take that on board, what you've just said. Thank you. Is there anybody else to speak?
Doug Young, 8 St Anne's Road. I've also read the minutes from the meeting we had 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the thing that distresses me most is the very end, where it states nobody questioned the other sketch. There's 2 sketches out there, one for the plan for the rec, one for the plan for the back of the village cafe. Right? That wasn't mentioned, but it wasn't brought up by yourself or any other councillor at that meeting. So, and you closed the meeting abruptly at 8:30. I didn't know there was a time constraint on it, but at the end of the day, for that comment to be made at the very end, leads me to believe that there's smoke and mirrors being played in this parish.
Okay, thank you for your comments, sir. That's been noted. Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak?
So Dina Coker, 1 Mill Road, Dymchurch. So following the annual parish meeting, you spoke about the rec and the pavilion becoming a burden. Can you clarify whether it's just the rec or just the pavilion, or is it both? And at what point did it become both the burden? And how long after the rec was purchased was the pavilion built, and how was that funded?
I will get that in. I will get you a written answer to that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, so it was okay. So in the covenant where you said about it becoming a burden, it didn't include the pavilion on the covenant because the pavilion wasn't built.
No, I think that's probably been misunderstood. What it said,
Okay.
what the covenant said, but you're coming in on Wednesday anyway.
Yeah.
But what the covenant says is that initially the parish council didn't want to buy the land because it would be a burden on the taxpayer. And initially the cricket club paid for the did all the work for the pavilion. It was obviously under guarantee for a long while with the built place. And it started to become a burden when the cricket club couldn't afford the running of it. So it's been a burden for some considerable time, but obviously more so as the building has got older and deteriorated. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else got a question?
John Williams, Well Cottage, up in 19 High Street. We didn't discuss the car park development in the village hall at the last meeting because it has already been said it was abruptly finished at 8:30. When can we expect to have a public meeting to discuss the proposals for that car park and the details of the accommodation there? I noticed on the paper that they're talking about putting up 3-storey townhouses in a car park. Really does look ambitious. And is that going to pay for the parking spaces that have disappeared? Who's going to own those townhouses? Who's going to own the freehold or the leasehold of them? How has this been dealt with? We all know about the scandals going on at the moment about leaseholds and property developers. Everybody must be aware of that now. It's been in the papers a lot. We hope that Dymchurch, I hope that Dymchurch is not heading into that sort of terrible situation. I've got one other concern, and that is back to my old chestnut, if you like, if you give the term, but the dog fouling on the promenade. I went along today. It was almost perfect. Very, very good. And I think Dave is back on duty. But when I walked down yesterday lunchtime, I found on 4 separate occasions between the Martello Tower at the far end of the promenade and the first slipway, the one I call parallel with the slipway, there were 2 lots of broken bottles. Having got past that slipway, coming towards the main slipway, I then came across 2 more lots of broken bottles along there after the weekend. Several cyclists were going past. I dropped the dog with me, so I'm careful. Mentioned it to the cyclists. They were all grateful. Now, this morning I went along, there was only one of them there. So I don't know if it's been long cleared up. I picked up what I could. I think most people do if they can.
Yeah.
But what can be done to stop this? You know, if we live in a village, it's all part of keeping that promenade clear, whether it's dog mess, bottles, litter or whatever. You can't expect Dave to be there all the time. Hopefully something can be done about it. I'd just like to keep on about it, and I will all the time I come to this meeting until it gets resolved. But go back to the car park. When can we expect to have a meeting to discuss that, which we did not discuss at the annual parish meeting?
When we're still waiting for further information, on the potential over there and the recreation end. When we have that further information, we will let you know. I can't give you any more information on the recreation ground or there until we have further information. When I get that, I will obviously, and to all of you, I will let you know, right? And we will have a meeting if the councillors decide that the road, whatever road they're going to go down, we will have a meeting.
Okay.
Getting back to your bottles, right? I don't know, what can we do when people drop bottles? You can say last weekend with the 3 bus shelters that got smashed up in the village, what can we do? It's completely out of our hands. But if you walk your dog or anyone walks along there and sees someone smashing a bottle, you're quite entitled to go and tell them to clean it up.
I have done that.
This happens after the pubs have shut, probably.
Well, maybe, but yeah, I know it's a problem. The dog fouling, we've been on to the enforcement team at Shetway, and they have told me, and probably my fellow councillor as well at Shetway, that they will be doing some more spot checks on this beach, right, this summer. Right? So we've got to name and shame them. Right?
Just going back to the meeting, will it be a general meeting as we had for the post office dispute, or will it be a closed meeting as we had with the annual parish meeting, where the vote is not binding?
The meeting will be decided by the councillors, right, on what sort of meeting it is.
How many people need to get together to force a meeting to discuss any of these items?
Well,
how many people?
Well, I don't know. But you can. But I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. There will be a meeting when the council have decided, right, on the road that they're going to go down.
But the point I'm trying to make is that if the council decide not to hold that meeting, what can we as parishioners do? How many people need to make that call? Perhaps the clerk can tell us.
Well,
There's actually no provision, Mr. Chairman, in the standing orders for that, but I hope I can help you a little here. I shall be producing a report summarising the information we received from the various bodies which I identified at the end of my remarks at the annual parish meeting. and that report will be publicly available. And any meeting that we hold will be prior to any decisions being made by this council about where it might want to go next. In other words, we will share whatever information we get with the public. What else will we want to do?
Can I just come back on that? If the public meeting goes against what you propose as a council, where do we go from there? As with Shepway? Override what the public want?
I think it is the case that if the public were overwhelmingly opposed to any proposals that this council might come up with, and I may add it has come up with none at the moment, but any proposals it might come up with, in the light of the information which we will share, then I think the council will be very foolish to pursue the option, to be perfectly honest.
Can that get minutes?
Yes.
Well, of course it would. I mean, I believe in transparent government.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I'm not an expert on the local 1972 Local Government Act, but I believe it's either yourself can call an extraordinary meeting of the parish, 2 councillors or 8 registered electors. Okay? Just for information. So I'm not an expert.
Mr. Chairman, it's the same as for referendums
Yes.
nowadays. And so it is actually the 8 that you refer to, because we incorporated into the 2011 Act.
Hang on.
Can I just come back to your earlier points, which I'm pleased to see that people are raising the concerns they have about what we would call, I suppose, antisocial behaviour. You referred specifically to glass on the seawall and dog fouling. Roger added something that concerned me, which was the demolition of the 3 bus shelters, which is so destroying for us, having worked hard to get them, to find them destroyed one weekend about 3 weeks ago. And I was personally disappointed to see on social media people almost expecting this to happen, finding it acceptable and making excuses for it happening. I don't know who caused it. I wish I did. But most of you will know that this weekend the ATM at Tesco's was completely destroyed in an attempt to steal from it, so we couldn't have a cash machine either. What can we do to help solve this problem is the question I'm hearing you ask. I know what we're trying to do, but what I would encourage the public to do is to be more vigilant if they can. And perhaps more importantly, you elected a police and crimes commissioner last year. We write to him, you write to him and tell him you'd like to see more policing, more patrol cars on the Wembley Marsh, because this is one of the things he said he would do when he increased the precept this year. So unless we all lobby together, we won't get that response. I hope that helps.
Clive Dudley, 4 Acre High Street. Can you confirm that a pre-planning application for advice was filed with the KCC after the APM?
Pre-planning application for advice on access at the recreation ground.
No, it was before.
It was before?
Yeah.
Is that going to go in the minutes?
At the
There hasn't been, we haven't submitted a planning application to get county council.
pre-planning application.
Pre-planning.
Pre-planning.
Application
For advice?
For
advice.
Yeah.
Oh, the access.
For access.
I think that's what they're
Well, that
trying
was
to say.
before. That was before the
That was
annual
before-
parish meeting.
was it?
Because it was a
Requested it before.
We did request it before the annual parish meeting.
Because at the parish meeting, Martin Wybrow questioned about access, so did Rita Luckhurst about access, and the clerk informed us that you'd had verbal advice on access, but we've since obviously discovered that there's an official pre-planning application for advice on access that's gone into Kent County Council, so the 2 pieces of information seem to be conflicting. We just want some clarity about. Obviously, we've been told it was verbal, and now we're being told there's an official pre-planning application that's gone in.
No, that's not from this council. No, not from this council.
That's solid information we've
This
got
council
from Kent
didn't,
County
this council, I can tell you, this council has not asked Kent County Council for pre-planning application
on access
I have
for the
not done
recreation
that.
ground.
I have not done that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It was before.
We're not asking when it was, we're asking has that been filed with Kent County Council?
I thought you said after the annual
Pre-planning application advice, has that been filed with Kent County Council?
After the annual parish meeting, you just said.
We are, but we're also asking has it been filed?
Well, you had to for the access beforehand to get the information.
Right.
I believe your question is just.
That wasn't my question, that was his question.
I beg your pardon, I thought you said after the annual parish meeting.
Yes, was it?
It wasn't after,
It
but
wasn't.
it was filed for before, because we had to get that information.
So
But
did the
you didn't
information
have
come
the
back after the APM? Yeah? I'm just trying to establish where the...
Come back on the 8 p.m. They've never even-
You didn't have it at the time.
Waiting to hear from
We're
them.
still waiting to hear
Okay,
from Kent.
I understand
I
now.
got a
I get it.
phone call.
Okay. Yeah, so you filed it before the meeting, you had a phone call and you had verbal confirmation on the phone, but there's no official response from KCC
We
at the
haven't had
moment.
that yet,
No.
no.
Right, thank you.
Doug Young, 8 St Anne's Road again. Maybe my hearing wasn't that good at the last annual parish meeting, but I believe that the chair and the councillors were asked numerous times about planning permission, and that each time that question was asked, the response from the front of the hall was, we hadn't got that far yet, and now we seem to find out, well, actually you have.
No, we haven't.
No, you were asked numerous occasions.
not.
Excuse me, I'm talking, do not interrupt. I don't interrupt you when you're talking. You're the chair, you should know better. At that meeting, numerous people asked about different various planning. And every time the response was, we haven't got that far yet. I think all the other people who were there will agree with me. If not, I'll retract. But that was where the response was from Councillor Tilson, Mr Myers, and anybody else. The response was, we haven't got that far yet. And yet it seems to be tonight, you have.
No, so we haven't got that far
You've
yet.
asked for pre-planning permission for access.
That's not planning.
That is
It's-
not planning, that was
That's
information.
advice.
Right, advice that we got from Kent
So
County
why wasn't
Council.
that made clear on the
It
night?
was made clear. It was
No,
made clear that we
no,
are
I don't-
seeking advice from
Ask
Kent
ask the body
Why
then.
don't we clarify it now?
No, it wasn't made clear at the APM because we have an accurate record of what was said at the APM, and I've already stated that this evening in my initial question, which was that the clerk confirmed to Martin Wybrow that you had verbal advice on the phone. He asked you who you'd had that advice with, you said you didn't recall. At no point during that meeting did anybody from the council, clerk, councillors or chairman, state to the community that you had filed an application for pre-planning advice.
I'll say it to you again, we have not filed pre-planning application, okay? Any more questions from the public?
Chairman, I'm conscious that
We need to
there's a
clarify.
time limit.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
But the point about public order, we don't often see the police, any police, in this parish. Councillor Tilson and I attended the Guildhall in Leigh for the Marsh Forum. The community sergeant came out from Folkestone and we had a long discussion of all the Marsh parishes about the inadequacy of community policemen. We don't even see a PCSO. His name was mentioned, but I've never run into him. John, our community warden, is what is the thin green line in this parish here. Now, one of the things that we particularly raised with them, and the other coastal parishes raised about, was policing of the seafront, including our promenade, because of interlopers coming in and gangs operating. We see vehicles, I live on the seafront, all times of the day and night. And we actually had the community safety officer there, and we've requested the Marsh Forum to get the Police and Crime Commissioner down to speak to us as a group of 10 parish and towns. He refuses to come because he said we're not important enough. He'll only go to large towns. Now that's what we've tried, not as a parish, but as a collective of the 10 parishes and towns on the marsh. And the chairman's quite right. You need to make strenuous efforts through your MP. Oh, sorry, it wasn't the chairman, it was Councillor Myers.
County Council.
Yeah, through your county councillors to get policing done here. You know, Two chaps got 6 years for bringing illegals over our beach. And the chairman went on the television and said, we don't want to see dead bodies of children or even adults floating in on the incoming tide. But unless we have a decent police force policing our borders, because we're on a trans-frontier route here, something drastic is going to happen. It'll be worse than broken bottles. It'll be dead children on our beach. 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 Dead children.